It's time to start the show.
Ready, get set, because it's time to go with the It's 420 Somewhere podcast. With your host with the most, the man voted most likely to smoke out with a Yeti, Mr. Brian Brown. Mr. Brian Brown. Now sit back and relax, because it's time to go live across the world. Because it's 420 Somewhere.
And boom, we drop the hammer. How's everyone doing on this fantastic True Crime Thursday? That's right, guys. Welcome to the It's 420 Somewhere podcast. I'm your host, Brian Brown, and this is the podcast where we come to you Monday through Friday, and we count down all things crazy cannabis. We count all things crazy. Blah, blah. I've been dipping in my own supply a little early, guys. We count down to 420 every day, and we get into a whole mess of trouble in the meantime, guys. We get it. We celebrate all things cannabis, and we get into amazing content, guys. We do Movie Monday, where we tackle the craziest movies stoners love, regular people love. Not that stoners aren't regular people. What did we do? This week we did My Bloody Valentine 3D, guys. The 2009 classic. That is right. And then yesterday we did Paranormal Tuesday. No, yesterday was Weed Wednesday. Got into some crazy stuff, guys. We do Paranormal Tuesdays, but today is True Crime Thursday, guys. And last week it was such a big hit. We looked into the Espanola city. It was the Espanola sheriff. I forget, Royal Arriba County sheriff, I guess, and then Espanola is the city. It's all Greek to me, guys. No. We looked into the corruption of the sheriff. 2 sheriffs were arrested and sent to prison, one by the FBI in a row. Not like one in 1981 and then one in 2020. No, back to back, man. Just crazy corruption. The city council member that was under suspicion of like craziness. He's now the mayor. The police chief stepped down. Oh man, we got into it. It was a good one, guys. If you missed it, make sure you jumping back to last week and checking out that episode. It was a good one. But we're gonna stay in that same vein, guys, and we are looking at 7. Count them 7 corrupt cop cases that will just blow your mind. Some you probably know of, some they've made movies about even, and TV shows and books. We're going to get into it, guys. Get into the nitty gritty of corruption in law enforcement. Um, that's a content that we can never stop drilling into. No, and there's good cops out there, guys. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm sure 90% of the people who get into law enforcement get into it with the best of intentions, and I don't know where it happens from there, but yeah, guys. So these are, we're not bashing cops per se, but you know what? We want to hold people accountable. We're held accountable as citizens, and we expect the people that hold us accountable for someone to hold them accountable. But then who holds those people accountable? And then who holds those people accountable? Who remembers Enemy of the State with Will Smith and Gene Hackman? That was a great movie. That was pretty much the premise of that was with the boom of technology and surveillance, who was going to be the ones watching the people who were watching the people. That was a pretty great movie. I'm not the huge Will Smith fan, but give that one a thumb. 2 blunts up on that one, guys. Look, you got a free movie Monday in there. All right, guys, what we also do is we also count down the top craziest videos on the web, guys. And today we got when accidents do happen. These are some crazy like car stuff and just insane, guys. This is actually a really, really funny one. So buckle in, guys. We're gonna get into our review here in a minute, and we're gonna get into True Crime Thursday, guys. But first, the top 5 at 420. That's right. Here we go, guys. Top 5 at 420, brought to you by the Healing Center, 1400 Needles Highway, Needles, California. Save some green on some green. That's about the size of the deals you're going to save, and that's the overwhelming satisfaction of the money you save at the Healing Center, guys. Look at these guys. It's a freaking iceberg. What do you think's going to happen? You know how they say you never know how deep an iceberg is, or how deep an iceberg is. You never know how shallow it is either. All right, guys, let's get into this thing. Holy moly! Holy Nikes! Damn, let's watch that again. It almost looks like a David Blaine illusion with that bus going in front of it first. Damn, that thing just popped. Woo, I wonder what happened. Oh, man, that's crazy. Those things are heavy, too. Oh, all right, number 3. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Damn. That truck's... Look at this lady. This lady's like, oh, hell no. She was like Wonder Woman, boy. She bolted out of there. She's like the Flash. She was saying, nope, nope, nope. All right, number 2, guys. Oh, this was... Yeah, whoa. This is when you know you're not meant to travel any further. God's like, you know what? No. You guys have gone far enough. You need to turn back around now. Oh, that's scary, man. Half a second, you would have been toasted. Oh, man. Ooh. All right, number 1, guy. What the hell? Is this like a resort? I still got in the swimming pool. Well, Hey, do you pay extra for that or what? Oh. But I love the way dude takes his towel. He's like, "This is my towel. You can have the seat, but you're not gonna have my towel." That was your top 5 at 420, brought to you by the Healing Center, guys. 1400 Needles Highway, Needles, California. Holy yeah! Whoa! Saw your life flash before your eyes on that one. Oh damn! Oh damn! Whoa! Okay, Frogger. There's a freaking life. Oh, what's going on there? Just being weird. Just being weird like dogs be weird. All right, guys, I'm getting into some high fidelity today, guys. And what I need you to do, this is Jello-nade, guys. And what I need you to do is break out those brongs, break out those bongs, break out those pipes, break out those rigs, break out those edibles, break out that glass of wine, whatever it is you're getting into, guys, get into it right now because it is 420. Boom. How was your 420? Mine was fire, guys. Getting into this high fidelity. That is right. This is a gelonade. This is a heart pumping, pound jumping, get on your feet and muffin. I didn't know what else rhymed with jumping. Sativa, guys. This will get you going. This is a good one in the morning, man. This is a wake and bake that get you. Who needs a cup of coffee when you got some high fidelity gelinade? High fidelity gelinade. Some gelinade, guys, from High Fidelity. Sure you're checking that out. It was pretty fire. Of course, you know, guys, you know what I sprinkle on. I don't have any every J dabs, I mean, but I do have some every. Oh wait, do I have the video? I do have some every day.
You ain't dabbing unless it's everyday dabs. You ain't dabbing unless it's everyday dabs. You ain't dabbing unless it's everyday dabs.
That's right, everyday dabs, guys. I'm digging their stuff, man. I got hooked on their shatter, and now I'm getting into their crumbles and their other stuff because they're out of the shatter. But I'm sure we'll be back in stock. Good value, good high, good buzz for the price, guys. It does the trick. All right, guys, it is True Crime Thursday, and I don't think I have any production value. What's this one? All right, apparently I'm all off script here. It is True Crime Thursday, guys, and what just happened was a crime. Tripping out. I'm hearing things. I'm stoned, man. I feel like Smokey in Friday. I'm like, what's going on? No, that joke was a crime, guys, and that's how we're gonna lead into this True Crime Thursday. We started last week with our police corruption. I guess series, because we're doing a second one now. It went over so good, I thought we would check out a different realm of it, guys. We looked at Sheriff Lahone, I believe was his name, from uh, New Mexico, Espanola, New Mexico. He was the sheriff elected. He got into some fishy stuff. They served a warrant on him. They straight raided the sheriff department. The undersheriff got arrested. Man, it was a lot of that whole area. It seems pretty crazy. But hopefully I never have a flat tire in Espanola and they're like, hey, we know who you are. That's the last thing I want. But we're getting into some other corruption cases, guys. These are 7 cops that's corruption stories from 7 police officers, forces, whatever it may be, that you guys may be familiar with. A couple of these, they've made TV shows, they made books, different things about it. So we're going to get into this right now, guys.
You cold-blooded killer!
William Demby, a former Lorain County Sheriff's Correction officer, and his wife, Holly Demby, seemed like the average blended family. They had a 4-year-old son together and 3 children from Holly Demby's previous marriage. However, on August 11th, after a heated argument, police received a call from Demby, where he calmly told them he had nearly beheaded his wife. During the argument, Demby punched his wife, then helped her clean up downstairs before returning to his bedroom for a combat-style knife with a 7-inch blade. He stabbed her multiple times before she tried to escape by climbing out a 2nd-story bathroom window. After Holly went out the window, Demby went downstairs and stabbed her twice more. During the trial, his attorneys argued that Holly had an adulterous affair and claimed that she was emotionally abusing her husband for years before he snapped and killed her. 10 days after her murder, Holly's mother, Cheryl Folds, admitted to destroying any scientific evidence that confirmed her daughter's affair. He was found guilty of murder, felony assault, and domestic violence and sentenced for a total of 20 years to life in prison.
All right, so on that one, I'm gonna give that one a pass. That's not a corrupt cop. That's just some dude who is a cop living a normal life. I mean, not normal. He killed his freaking wife, but I mean, yeah, that's not a corruption case. But that's a true crime case. Yeah, but that has nothing to do with law enforcement. Yeah, boo on that guy, loser. All right, up next, guys, we got this. Actually, is a good one. You might they made a TV series on this HBO show. Let's watch it right now.
I got it. Look at me. I'm Sergeant Wayne Jenkins of Gun Trace Task Force. I'm assigned to Baltimore City Police Department.
It's not news that the role of law enforcement is to prevent crime and civil disorder. However, for some, these are the very body of persons executing the crime. The Baltimore Police Department is one such case. Their crimes were so notorious that a book on it was published, and later on, a show was adapted. Prior to this, they'd been lauded as some of the best gun cops in the city, seizing tons of illegal firearms every month and demonstrating a work ethic that is beyond reproach. In the words of one supervisor, Wayne Jenkins was a rising star in the department because of his ability to regularly bring in huge seizures of drugs and guns. Jenkins joined Baltimore's police department in 2003, first becoming a beat cop and patrolling the streets of Baltimore. It was in 2007 that Jenkins became a part of the Gun Trace Task Force, a new unit of plainclothed officers focused on targeting suspected criminals believed to have big supplies of guns and drugs, in a bid to reduce the city's high murder rate. However, the focus on quantity rather than quality led Jenkins and the 7 other GTTF officers to start planting evidence, take money from the homes they invaded, and even resell the drugs they seized back onto the streets. On March 1st, 2017, Sergeant Wayne Jenkins and 6 of his subordinate officers from the Gun Trace Task Force walked into Baltimore's police department's internal affairs building, believing they were there to clear up a minor complaint about a damaged vehicle. But instead, they were arrested. It turned out that federal agents had the unit under surveillance for months and had accumulated a wealth of evidence showing the officers were robbing citizens, filing for hundreds of hours of overtime they never worked, stealing drugs, and even selling illegal firearms back on the streets, planted evidence on people, even committed home invasions. Jenkins signed a plea agreement in 2017 that detailed 7 robberies that he participated in, along with other members of the unit, as well as his drug dealing partnership with Donald Stepp, the former bail bondsman and cocaine dealer who testified at trial. In September 2021, Jenkins spoke with BBC journalist Jessica Lusenhop from behind bars, and he claimed he never took money from Baltimore citizens. He says, "I did give drugs to Donnie. For the last couple of years I was police, but I didn't take people's money, because then they would know you were dirty." Explaining the tactics of the GTTF, he also said, "This was a saying we state. Don't let probable cause stand in the way of a good arrest. If you've got to lie about what you've seen or what you heard or what you've witnessed, as long as he's dirty, he's got the drugs, and he's got the guns, and he did the crime. Just get him." When his case went to trial on January 5th, 2018, Jenkins pled guilty to 1 count of racketeering, 2 counts of robbery, 1 count of destruction, alteration, or falsification of records, and 4 counts of deprivation of rights under color of law. Jenkins was given a 25
All right, so under all those charges, guys, how much time do you think he got? I'm not sure. I'm just kind of guessing. Like, I thought it would be funny to kind of throw out there your numbers, guys. So throw out the numbers. How many years do you think he got? Hopefully, they tell us. Otherwise, I will have to look it up. Old Wayne Jenkins, because none of those charges are super like murdery or manslaughtery, so I'm really curious to see how much time he ends up getting.
25-year prison sentence on June 7th, 2018, which he is currently in the midst of serving at a federal prison in Kentucky. As the leader of the
That's a pretty good chunk of time for what that was. Dang.
leader of the unit, he received the long
No, don't get me wrong. What they did, the home invasions and everything, was freaking unquestionable. He definitely got the amount of time he deserved for karma, but like racketeering and some of those, those weren't super. You don't see people doing 25 years for a lot of that stuff.
prison sentence. But Jenkins isn't even the most psychopathic cop in this video. That award goes to the next officer. But first, if you're liking this video, it would be great if you could subscribe, as we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before.
Yeah, go over and check out Corehouse. They got way more than 1,000 subscribers now, guys. But it's a great channel. We've been using a lot of videos from them
this year. Anyway, back to the cases. Michael Dotrow was a police officer that swore to uphold the law, but disgraced it entirely in his vengeful plots. Dotrow was angry with his then-captain Mark Anderko, who switched his shift and ordered him to undergo a fitness for duty evaluation with a psychologist after his 11th excessive force complaint. Because of this, he decided to set fire to Andreko's home while his family were inside asleep in May 2013. He also cyberbullied a woman who worked in the police department, slashed her tires, and accessed the department's computer database illegally about the incident. Additionally, Dotrow faced accusations of buying and keeping marijuana and paraphernalia in his police bag, along with prohibited weapons, including.
Boy, they led with the lead, right? They were like, he burned his family alive in a house. Oh, but then he harassed a lady at work. Like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, let's go back to the family. Like, that's crazy.
Jack and brass knuckles. In total, Dotrow has had 40 guilty convictions in municipal court, 18 of which occurred prior to being a police officer, and the remaining 22 while he was a police officer. Judge Jimenez said, adding that the convictions do not account for the 5 additional superior court convictions that he was being sentenced for. Dotrow was found guilty and received 20 years for attempted murder, a first-degree crime, and 10 years for aggravated arson for setting the May 23, 2013 fire at Anderko's home. The prison terms will run concurrently. Dotrow was also sentenced to 10 years for official misconduct, 5 years for conspiracy to tamper with a witness, and 18 months for conspiracy to retaliate. He will serve 5 years of parole supervision once released. Jimenez also ordered Dotrow to have no contact with the Anderko family and another victim.
Tonight, he is headed to prison. Action News reporter Bob Mayo with the evidence used to lock him away.
In 2009, Donald Solomon became the police.
Let's stop it real quick. Man, what a psychopath that other guy is. What did he end up getting, like about 30 years? I wonder what that is with parole. But God, man, that dude was on a terror. I wonder what if like drugs were involved. 'Cause that's just like straight psychopath stuff. That's like, woo.
Borough of East Washington, Pennsylvania, after a decade as a part-time officer. Around that time, Solomon and his wife divorced after more than 15 years of marriage. It was after this that his behavior had attracted the attention of federal authorities and caused them to engage an unidentified confidential informant described by Solomon as an erstwhile friend to probe Solomon's criminal tendencies. On June 30th and July 1st, 2011, the confidential informant met with Solomon to discuss providing security services for an unidentified third person. They discussed providing security for a 4-kilogram cocaine deal for which they would each be paid $500 per kilogram. On July 27, 2011, Solomon and the confidential informant met with the third person, Joseph, who was really an undercover FBI agent posing as a drug trafficker. At the meeting, Solomon agreed to provide protection for a multi-kilogram cocaine shipment, and also agreed to wear his police uniform and sit in his police car while doing so. The staged drug deal took place in a church parking lot in East Washington. Solomon had a shotgun, an AR-15 rifle, and a 9mm handgun with him as he sat inside his marked police cruiser with the CI. Soon after, Joseph and a fellow undercover agent engaged in another fake drug deal, while Solomon looked on from his police car. In total, Solomon was paid $8,800 in connection with the drug transactions. Solomon was indicted on 3 counts of extortion. He pled guilty in January 2013 to 3 counts of extortion and was sentenced in June of that year to a minimum of 11 years to a maximum of 14 years in prison. In 2017, he received a reduced prison sentence from a federal judge who acknowledged that Solomon went beyond ordinary measures while in prison to get his life back on track. Marco Marino was an FBI officer who came to the United States in 1991 when he was 12 with no money and no home. In 2007, he became a U.S. citizen. He overcame a great deal of adversity in his life and stayed out of trouble despite a very rough upbringing. When asked why law enforcement, Marino stated, "To help give back to my community." John Kaczkowski was raised by his parents in Venezuela until he was 7 years old and moved to the United States in 1996 when the climate in Venezuela began to change for the worse. His father was also a U.S. citizen. He wanted a law enforcement career, believing it suited his personality, and he was made for the job. His goal was to work in either narcotics, burglary, or robbery units. Despite both their passions for their jobs, they were discovered to be trafficking fentanyl, a powerful synthetic opioid analgesic that is 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. Marino, who was 45, conspired with Kaczkowski, who was 33, to traffic the lethal drug. Marino tried to recruit a confidential informant to traffic drugs with him. He promised law enforcement protection to the individual and said he could intervene if other law enforcement agencies attempted to investigate the confidential informant. In March, April, May, August, and September of 2021, Marino accepted a total of $44,000 in cash in exchange for protecting the safe transport of at least 27 kilograms of cocaine. Unbeknownst to Marino, there was no actual cocaine, and each of the transactions was controlled by federal law enforcement. During the transports of the
Oh God, could you imagine, like, you think you got all this moving, and then when you get busted, and they're like, oh, yeah, you never actually transported anything. There's no red flags, because you're just, it was baby powder or whatever they use these days. Oh, crazy.
The purported cocaine, it was alleged Kaczkowski made himself available by radio to make any calls that Marino might need, including to other law enforcement officials, to protect the safe transportation of the cocaine. In June and August of 2021, Marino allegedly distributed approximately 7.5 kilograms of fentanyl that Kaczkowski provided to him. Kaczkowski was identified to be a cooperating witness as someone who had previously been an informant for the narcotics officer, and the relationship had turned into one where the witness was trafficking drugs. The witness said Kaczkowski used a Mickey Mouse marking on kilograms of cocaine when he provided them to the witness, the same marking that was found on at least 4 of the 7.5 kilograms Marino provided to the informant. John Kichkowski, 33, entered a guilty plea that includes forfeiture of cash, 21 firearms, a 2016 Cadillac Escalade, a 2021 Chevrolet Corvette, and a $500.
Why is it always an Escalade and a Corvette? Why? It always is. Guy, oh man. Before we continue, that's a pretty good tactic they used. They were like, okay, let's just see. We'll just keep running this stuff through and see who he calls and who else is corrupt and who else we can actually find out is, expose that. So that instead of just busting this guy as bait, and he had no clue, which is even better. But yeah, pretty cool. And score one for the good guys, man. Cops get busting dirty cops. You couldn't ask for more. There you go.
$1,000 money judgment against him. Marino, on the other hand, pled guilty in March to drug conspiracy and bribery charges. He is awaiting sentencing. He faces a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison for the bribery charge and a sentence of at least 10 years up to life in prison for the fentanyl distribution charge. For most of his 4 years as a Memphis police officer, Arthur Seas IV financed his dream of becoming a record producer by stealing large sums of money and drugs from dealers whose reward was not being arrested. Arthur Seas was a Memphis police officer. He grew up in Orange Mound, joined the Navy, and then, on July 19, 2001, he became a Memphis police officer. He was fired in January of 2005 after state robbery charges were filed, but he continued the shakedowns by directing former colleagues still on the force to make the stops. 3 other Memphis police officers, Anton Owens, Andrew Hunt, and Alexander Johnson, as well as other associates and relatives of Seas, were involved in the conspiracy. His primary goal was the high life, Parker said. He wanted to be a rap record producer and, in fact, High Life Incorporated was going to be the name of his record company. He wanted to raise money for his rap label, so he'd get friends who were drug dealers to set up drug deals, and then he and other officers would rob them. The prosecutor said that after taking drugs, money, cell phones from the dealers, he would then tell them, "This is your lucky day," and that he wasn't going to arrest them. Seas was the principal co-conspirator. Seas' convictions are based on 14 separate incidents. The incidents followed the same basic plan. Seas would arrange for a drug buy or drug sell using drugs taken in a previous incident, using a non-officer contact as the front person. As the deal was occurring, either Seas or one of his fellow co-conspirator officers would arrive at the scene to make a purported arrest and seize the money and drugs involved in the deal. The participants would then be released, and Seas and all his conspirators would split the proceeds without reporting the incidents. In November or December of 2003, Seas arranged for his cousin to set up a drug deal with Dewan Nard Brooks. Acting outside of his assigned beat, Seas observed the deal in an unmarked police car while wearing plain clothes. When Brooks' SUV pulled up next to Seas' cousin's vehicle, Seas radioed for Owens to come to the scene in uniform in a patrol car. Owens approached the 2 vehicles with his weapon drawn and removed both Brooks and Seas' cousin from their vehicles. Operating under Seas' instructions to make it look real, Owens roughed up Seas' cousin and placed him in the back of the patrol car. Meanwhile, Seas searched Brooks' SUV and found a bag containing a half kilogram of cocaine, which Seas placed in the front seat of his unmarked vehicle. Owens also seized $11,000 from Brooks, then released him without an arrest. Once Brooks left, Seas' cousin was released from Owens' patrol car, and the drugs were dropped off at a South Memphis house, where they were later used to set up another drug sale. Owens, Seas.
All right, so how sloppy is that? All right, man, at least, like, if you're going to be a corrupt cop, a criminal, do, like, what a criminal would do, man. I wouldn't do that to somebody, but if you were going to do it smart, you would take half of it and you would book in the other half so you get the arrest. And then what is he going to say? No, man, I didn't have 12 pounds. I didn't have 12 pounds. I had 24 pounds. What are you talking about? No, you guys see, and normally you don't even see the money that they seized from you. Like in the end, like if you're going to jail, and they seize money like in a drug deal, you don't see like amounts or whatever. Maybe on the news when they publicized it, but yeah, that would be the smart way to do it. But guy's not smart.
and Officer Johnson then split the $11,000 in cash. After several dealers finally complained to the police department, a months-long investigation was conducted that ended with the arrest of Seas in an April 2006 sting. Seas' 44 counts of civil rights, narcotics, robbery, and firearm offenses led to one of the most extreme sentences for civil rights and other violations that did not involve any deaths. He was sentenced to a prison term of life plus 255 years by Chief Judge John P. McCullough in Memphis, Tennessee.
Not Chief John McCullough. There we go. The autofocus had to focus in on guys. So those were the top 7 corrupt cop stories, guys. I'm gonna say top 6. That first one don't count. One thing I have kind of noticed, especially when you're talking a lot of corruption, is these task force. I think they just get a little too much power. I'm a big fan of The Shield, so I'm gonna be like, oh, I know, guys. I've watched every episode of The Shield twice. No, but this most recent incident where they killed that guy, and you look at a lot of these different, it's usually like some gun task force, like in Baltimore. I think you just get too much power. These guys just see too much money coming in and man, it's had to be tempting. It would just have to be. I'm a big proponent of that any kind of law enforcement should require a minimum 2-year degree. I would say between 2 and 4. You know what? Just hiring people fresh out of high school just because they want to be a cop or they want to be whatever in law enforcement, man. I get they get basic training, but there's a lot of stuff that people just aren't like. I've met a lot of cops that just aren't serious about being a cop. They're doing it for a job. And they get pissed because they're putting their lives on the line and people don't show them respect. And then you got the ones who just they were bullies in high school and then they washed out of some crappy JV, or some crappy junior college somewhere. And it was either personal trainer or cop, because you got those, or a correction officer, a sheriff officer, whatever, they have a chip on their shoulder and they're gonna test their boundaries. They're gonna limit themselves. But if they had to do a 2-year degree to get that position, I think they would just take it a little more serious. I think they would be a little more grounded and professional. Anyway, hell, I didn't have to. I got a 2-year degree to make movies. So, and I don't hurt. I pretend. That's all I do. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm not feeling good, man. Almost fell out a couple times when we were watching those videos. I'm glad I made it. Glad you guys made it through. Usual Suspects. Hey, Kingman Crew, Usual Suspects. I'll probably be your way tomorrow. I will mess directly and let you guys know. I got some errands to run first, so I'm not sure what time. All right, guys, appreciate you so much. Make sure you're hitting that like, subscribe, share button. Make sure you're checking out the dailydank.com. That's right, the dailydank.com. Hey, we got a 710 show. Today we did the craziest ways someone can be fired. Just insane. We have a good time, guys. It's the best way to wake up. Nothing says waking up like Daily Dank in your cup, guys. We go live at 7:08, and we get the party started at 7:10, if you know what I mean. All right, guys. Appreciate you. I'm gonna get out of here. All right. I will see you guys in the morning, and tomorrow we'll have also a Wild Weekly from the Healing Center, guys. I will see you guys.
Thank you for joining us on the It's 420 Somewhere podcast. Broadcasting worldwide and brought to you by thedailydank.com. Check out our merchandise and amazing content. And follow us on all our social media. Now, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.